the case because he moved from Minnesota to California. This can be very stressful because you leave behind all your support network. And this is amplified through the pandemic because people have fear to start off new relationship. And this is where I try to work, being creative. So I try to make Alex feel as welcome as possible in the community here in Los Angeles, driving to Orange County to meet him face to face, having brunch together, getting to know his fiancée, to start to be part of his life, sharing moment together. And I think that it was also absolutely important on my end to try to share this thing with my own friends, to let them know about Alex, try to make them try to make him feel as welcome as possible, and to start making him starting his own network. And I think this is really what is setting Ergon apart from a lot of professional network. Yes, we are really open to help you find new contacts, to give you the skill set, webinars. But I think that this is something that goes beyond a professional connection. And for me, was really a friendship that started between me and Alex. And I really invite you to be a mentor for Ergon, even if you have maybe a few years of experience like me, because I'm almost 30, I'm pretty young, or if you have little time to dedicate to this activity, because I mean, when reality hits, sometimes all you need is just a little spark, just opening up to a relationship with a stranger, and this spark light up with something beautiful, a big fire like the friendship that I have with Alex. But I will let Alex give more details about what happens with his move and his job search here in California.
Thank you, Andrea and Sharon, for helping to support this event, and to Giovanni, of course, for his friendship throughout this. I want to build on a couple of things that Giovanni said. I moved to the West Coast here. Now you have to understand, I was born and raised in the Midwest. I'm thoroughly Midwestern, deep roots, never considered moving halfway across the country until I met this incredible young woman. 2020 was a challenging year to be sure, but beautiful in some ways. I was engaged late in 2020, and my fiance began her PhD program out west, so I knew I needed to accompany her out here. Still, it's an intimidating move, right? Going to a much larger city than the one that I was accustomed to, trying to find new work in a new community. And so I was very grateful to be connected with the Ergon network, in particular Giovanni. This is a challenging time even to visit with folks, and Giovanni was generous. Like he said, we were able to meet in person and share a meal together. Now there are headhunters and there are staffing firms, which I'm sure have some practical benefit, but there's something deeper in this relationship, which looks at the whole person. I think it was clear to me from the onset that Giovanni was not only interested in my professional development, doing all that he could to help me find work out west, but he was interested in forging a friendship with me. And this encounter, this feeling of being accompanied by somebody was so encouraging. It gave me, I think, the confidence, the patience, and really just sort of a sense of peace, knowing that this move, which was, as I mentioned, intimidating, was something within reach, because I knew that there was a community waiting for me in Los Angeles and Southern California. He opened up his home to me, invited me to stay. He introduced me to his friends. I mean, I think these are qualities that are difficult to come by, and in a moment where relationships, I think, are more important than ever, when it's so difficult for us to spend time with one another, good quality time with one another. How encouraging it was to know that I had a new home here. So as Giovanni said, I cannot encourage each of you here enough to get involved with the Ergon network, either as a mentee or if you are looking for work where you are or somewhere else, because this is a network of incredible folks who are welcoming and willing to help you and accompany you on this journey. So I'm grateful.
Thank you so much, Alex. This is great. I would like to say that at the end of the presentations, we are going to have a Q&A. So if you have questions, you can start to put them in the chat, and we are planning to call you up and give you the mic and unmute your mic so you can speak to the panelists. Next up is Michelle Bernardini. Michelle is a VP of Research, Data and Analytics at Razorfish Health, which is a company that does advertising in health, in health care. She has been working on things that are varied, including very important today, vaccines, but also rare disease and oncology. And so she's really working to help their customers to take the right decisions and help them be in the marketplace. And of course, she has an MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management. So Michelle, I'll leave it to you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So Andrea asked me to just say a few words about my involvement, which I'm very happy to do. And as I was thinking about the many things I could tell you about, there were a couple that came to mind. So I'll just tell you those and try to be as brief as I can. So the first thing I'll say is that I joined Ergon really out of friendship with Andrea. I had heard of it before, but hadn't chosen to participate. The moment in which it was born was a very complicated moment for me, as I'm sure it was for many of you. I had just started working from home. I have 2 children under the age of 5. Work was insane. We were dealing with a pandemic. So a lot of things going on, and taking something else on certainly didn't feel like something that I could necessarily do very easily. Thankfully, though, I mean, the call from Andrea, somebody that, you know, I've known for 10 years, was something that I couldn't necessarily ignore, right? I knew in the past that being faithful to our friendship, you know, was something that brought a positivity to my life, whether because it allowed me to look at myself differently, look at my life differently, or look at the questions that I had differently, right? So when he came to me, I really, I had to say yes, and that's really where this work began. In terms of my direct experience, I was matched with Killian, who I see is on the line. So hi, Killian, thanks for the support tonight. Killian, you know, luckily for me, was pretty much a direct match to my background. So as Andrea mentioned, I work in digital analytics. Killian was looking for a similar job, actually worked for a company that was very similar to mine. So I was able to offer him, you know, hopefully some concrete help. I hope he'll agree. So, you know, just a little bit of background on Killian, you know, young, smart, energetic, good work experience, father of 2 young kids, a lot going for him, but obviously a difficult moment, as many others, you know, looking for a new position in the pandemic was something that admittedly he would say was very, very challenging for him. So what we did was we just set up an intro call. I got to know him, I got to know his background. And one of the things that struck me the most when I met him was just the calm and grace and gratefulness that he showed me in our original call. And that sparked a question for me because, you know, somebody looking for a job, you could imagine, has a lot of tension, a lot of stress, and he really wasn't like that at all. And yet I showed up to this phone call with a job that was going very, very well. And yet I found myself feeling more chaotic and more anxious than him. And so a question immediately emerged for me, you know, what makes him different? What does he have that maybe I should pay attention to help me in my job, in my life? The second thing I wanted to point out is that as we started to work together, it was pretty easy to just zero in on the goal, right? Which clearly was to get him a new position. He was very motivated, I was very motivated. And because we're both professionals in an environment where, you know, we're doing our job every day, it was easy to offer him that level of support. Let's just focus on your resume. Let's, make you prepared for interviews, et cetera, et cetera. But I found myself, getting into problem fixing mode, right? Like all we need to do here is just get it done, right? And I actually remember emailing Andrea a little bit early into the process and saying like, look, it's been a month. Like, do you think we should be worried? Like, is there something that I need to do differently to help him? And it was really at that point where I started to realize like, okay, well, what if this isn't just about getting a job, right? Of course it's important. I don't want Killian to be out of work for a very long time, but what if this is something else? What if this relationship can offer us something else? And if we stay attentive to that, maybe something can happen for both of us. And so I really found myself sort of shifting at that point when I had that question. And what I began to notice is that, I changed in front of that question. For example, I was encouraging him very much to be confident and assertive and, to go into conversations and really sell himself. But I realized that I wasn't that great at doing that at my job. And I wasn't that great about being positive about the outcome of my efforts at my job. And so when I realized that together we could work on this, my work at work changed very simply. I started doing things differently. I felt better about it. I engaged my colleagues more. I'm on Zoom all day, right? I despised Zoom. All of a sudden I started turning my camera on and really looking at my colleagues in the face. And this sparked some things, some specific things that changed both for me and for those around me. And so it was really clear that once our gaze moved away from just the simple goal of getting a job, that it became a more fruitful work. The last thing I'll tell you is that, although all this was great, and obviously I'm very grateful for it, what moved me even more is that I saw things in my colleagues changing. For example, I connected Killian with a friend of mine who had moved on to another position, and they had an introductory coffee chat and got to know each other. And after that conversation, my friend wrote me and he said something to the effect of, I think Killian's really kind and I would love to welcome him to our agency. And what struck me about that is that in these types of professional conversations, there's many things that can get brought up, right? Like skill set, do you have a job? Is it the right fit? Things of that nature. But my friend chose to point out that he thought Killian was kind. These are not, the types of things you often hear at work. At least I don't. Maybe others in other industries do. And so I was moved by the fact that my friend could see this value in Killian that went above and beyond just what he could offer in his job. And it made me feel like it's true that, when we bring what we belong to our jobs, that this can somehow move others as well. And so, those are just a few things. I'm grateful for this journey together. I'm grateful for the opportunity Andrea has given us. And, I would encourage anyone who's interested to participate.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was really, as the previous two speakers, really interesting because all the three of you told us how this helped you, not just in looking at a job, but also in volunteering. And that's really the purpose of what we do. Last but not least, I finally can introduce someone in my field who's Professor Elena Collicino, who's an assistant professor at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. And Elena is an expert in biostatistics and machine learning. She works in data science, big data, especially in environmental health. And I learned through the blurb that she provided that she also, in her spare time, she also promotes gender diversity in the biostatistics community by promoting and participating in something called R Ladies, which are events and meetups to learn and share tricks about the R statistical software. So Elena, you are up.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for this kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here with you and to share my experience as volunteer at Ergon. I wrote a few lines to better organize my flow of thoughts about this experience. So I gave a couple of presentations on what I'm doing in my working life. And as a statistician, I collaborate a lot with multiple scientists to develop and adapt statistical approaches in order to understand the effect of environmental exposure on human health. So similarly to Michelle, I basically was engaged in this project and I gave those presentations because this was my way to respond to a provocation of a group of friends. So basically, because of this friendship, I accepted and gave a chance of this experience, so volunteering for Ergon. This was also an occasion to give back what I received from mentors and friends for many years. So indeed, throughout my career, I've had many mentors and friends who helped me focus on things that were important for my career and helped me grow not only professionally, but also personally. However, I realized quite early that this was not the standard for junior researchers, and this feeling of gratitude made me share this experience and be engaged with Ergon. So the presentations that I gave encompass what I've done in the last decade. And this exercise of memory of my working life refreshed the initial desire for my work and motivated me to invest more time in pay attention to details and to people working with me. So while at the beginning of this pandemic, my thoughts were only focused on staying afloat in this isolated scientific community, after those talks, I changed my overall perspective. So this exercise of memory gave me the energy to face the difficulties to work remotely with my team and collaborators. So video calls changed. Those calls were not anymore just a list of to-dos, but they started to be conversations. And they led me to know better the people working with me, including their scientific and personal interests. So when I gave those presentations, I also had the chance to attend other talks. And during our first Ergon seminar, nurses shared their experience and positive attitude, which we know are like now critical for this pandemic. So those talks also reawakened the motivation that led me to work in the environmental health field. So I recall that my work was not just developing and adapting methods, but most of all is understanding whether environmental exposure are detrimental for us. And with our results, we can contribute to better understand and better create healthcare policy decisions. So with this motivation in the back of my mind, I was able to focus on the things that matter most and not just on technicalities, which I really enjoy making. So the presentations basically helped me to be more present in what I was doing in my working life and not to focus on the pandemic per se. So with this revitalized attitude on my research, I was able to support collaborators in a more constructive way. And this has added to novel research questions with old and new collaborators. I also recognize through this experience and the communication that we have with Ergon, which is mostly virtual, that this novel way of working with a lot of virtual meetings can unlock research opportunities. This is actually for me, but I assume that this can be possible for all of us, especially if they are far away physically, but they share similar interests. So in summary, while I was preparing my presentations, I became aware that this was not only something that I committed to, but it was something for me and for my personal and professional growth. This was a powerful experience for me that has helped me to be more present to myself, my work, and my colleagues. And for this reason, I'm very happy to be part of this group. And this is actually my brief experience, and I'm happy to take questions or having offline follow-ups.
Thank you so much, Elena. This was fantastic, and thank you for sharing your experience. And I have to say that I'm truly provoked by the four of you, because you got what Ergon is, perhaps even more of us who have started it, and that is really amazing. Plus, I have to say, the New York Encounter performed a miracle, because we are perfect on time. It's the first time in 25 years that I moderate meetings that a meeting is actually perfectly on the minute, on the time we had established. That means also we have plenty of time for questions and answers. So I want to encourage everyone in the room today to write their questions in the chat. And there can be any type of questions. Don't be shy. It can be about what you heard from the speakers, about their personal experience, about technically how things work at Ergon, or it can be requests for help that we don't provide. You can tell us about what are the things that you struggle with at work, and perhaps we can have a discussion about how we can help each other with that. Also, this is very important, we are always looking for help. So you can see here the slide that shows our website and our email. So please reach out if we need help, but also if you do need help, please reach out as well. You see the email there, and you can find more information on the website. And our IT coordinator Lorenzo, in his real life a professor in a university in economics, tells me that there is a question.
Go ahead, Elisa.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So it's very beautiful to see that actually it's gratitude that helps mentors to follow their mentees. I mean, I know about Giovanni a lot, and I wanted to ask you, like, how do you follow the mentors? In the sense that, yeah, how you help mentors. How do you accompany mentors? And I'm not saying only like to have touch points on how it's going with the mentees. I mean, like, how do you keep this friendship with the mentors?
Thank you. So I can probably start to answer, but I would like to hear the two mentors who spoke, also Michelle and Giovanni, what was their experience. We have done meetings periodically. We've probably done 4 or 5 meetings over the year to touch base with all the volunteers, to have to really try to create a community of volunteers, not just to have people that get called up when they are needed, but also to have the possibility to share what we are doing, what we are living, and also what are the challenges and how to solve them. In addition to that, we try to create communications. We have a newsletter. We have ways to get together, and we also very interesting. Something I would invite everyone to participate to. We had networking events where we have 20, 30 people getting to know each other. And this helps both the volunteers to get to know each other, but also others who are looking for jobs or for help in their careers. So these are small events with 20, 30 people, and then usually we have breakout rooms. So you get this situation where you are zoomed into a breakout room with 4 or 5 people that you most likely didn't know at all. And so it gets really very interesting to get to know people that you didn't know. And of course, we can do better. So if there are also suggestions from anyone, that is really really something we want to do, how to better create a community, how to better create mentors, to help mentors. We also have a guide that we compiled that we give to mentors, so that it's clear how they can help the mentees, the job seekers, so that we also spend some time to write down what mentors can do. And I don't know whether Giovanni and Michelle have anything else to add.
I mean, just really quickly, I think the connection to the community was the biggest help for me. I mean, practically when you're supporting someone, you know, there's lots of questions that come up where you need idea generation because you've hit a dead end. So just being able to reach out to a group of people that you know is there and is working on the same things that you are was hugely helpful to me. Sharon and Andrea were a huge support, just being able to be there to bat ideas around with too. So I think the community first and foremost. And I think, you know, what I will say is that tangentially, most of us have a lot of career experience. So in terms of the skill sets necessary to support, I think we're well positioned. But you spark an interesting idea because as you've heard, like the journey for each of us has been one that's been personal. And so being able to support each other in that journey above and beyond just accomplishing the task, I think is something that we should think about and perhaps cultivate.
Thank you. Joe?
Yeah, very shortly. Yeah, besides the tools that you mentioned, Andrea, I would like to bring up an example. I was very touched by the relationship I started with Sharon, because she was my main point of contact. And I remember that at the beginning, when I was assigned to Alex, I was a little bit skeptical about mentoring him, because I couldn't offer him any support because I was really working on a different industry. And I remember that she tried to push me a little bit in going out of my comfort zone and try to open up a little bit. And I think that was vital in me growing in the role and try to build this relationship. Then I was also very struck by the way that she was also on her end following Alex, try to brainstorm job opportunities for him. And I think that most of all is keeping him in our thoughts and really try to accompany him throughout the process. So about this, I was really struck again by the role that Sharon had in me growing in the role.
Thank you for pushing him, Sharon.
Thank you. Ready for the next question?
I think that's me. I'm not sure.
Ready.
My question is, are there particular sectors of industry or the professions with which you tend to do more of your work? I'm an elementary teacher, and I would be interested in learning what Ergon might have to offer me or how I might become part of the network myself.
Absolutely. I mean, we have lots of teachers who we can put you in touch with and who can help or may need your help. And we have a lot of sectors. Perhaps Sharon can tell us. By the way, Sharon Molleros is the main instigator behind Ergon. And she really is the one who coordinates all the back office together with Eleanor and Pietro and Maria Sguanci. And she has been amazing in that. So maybe she has more of an overview who's on our base than I do. Sharon, do you want to tell us what you saw from your point of view?
Oh, sure, thank you. Well, I'm part of keeping a database of different people who volunteered, and then we also go outside of that and solicit people to come join us when we know there's a particular need. But yes, we do have we certainly have teachers, quite a few, and it might be a good idea to also do some kind of a seminar. I think we're also finding that there are clusters of people in different in different areas, and trying to maybe put some of them together But that's something we're exploring right now.
My recommendation, get in touch, email us, and we can discuss, we can brainstorm about the things we can do together. Lorenzo, we have another question.
Yes, I'm trying to unmute her, but Marie has a question. Is Ergon? Go ahead.
Grazie. Hi, I'm Marie, and I was born in the United States to an Italian family, but I lived in Canada my whole life. My question is Ergon, are you open to people of all walks of life, so that it is all religions or people with no religion or all professions? As I am a professional, but I work for a very large publishing and media conglomerate. So, and
The answer is absolutely yes. We really love to get everyone. We love anyone can come, anyone can be a volunteer, anyone can get help. So please, if you have ideas about disseminating information, let us know. We can help disseminate that to anyone you think we can reach out. But please, this is very important. If you know about anyone who needs help, send them our way. This is not restricted to a club. This is really for the entire United States and Canada.
Oh, mille grazie. No, it's like, because I work with so many professionals. I've bookmarked your website. I'll keep it in mind, and I might pass it along at my workplace. I work for a huge multinational. So with like I'm based in Canada. My management team is in the United States. So you never know. So grazie.
Fantastic. No, thank you for the question. It's very important. We really want to go beyond our own network. We want to reach anyone who needs help.
Oh, so prego, and grazie.
Grazie. Lorenzo, who's next?
We don't have.
Fantastic, because that's the second amazing fact of this meeting, because we are supposed to wrap up at 8:45. So we really, even the questions were perfectly on time. So you see the New York Encounter this year is the most exact science ever seen, even better than Dr. Colicino's machine learning algorithms. So I really don't have words to express how beautiful to me this has been, how helpful to hear your experience, how helpful to hear your questions. It really went beyond what I could expect, but beyond what I thought Ergon was to people. And so really reality hits. Very important, I would like to thank everyone who helped organize this meeting. Sharon was the main instigator as usual, and Lorenzo Razib helped with the back IT support. Leo Fiorica made that amazing video you saw. And of course, we have many others helping every day. That some of them are here. And I want to thank everyone and thank all the speakers. And I would like to encourage everyone to give it up a round of applause for these 4 amazing friends. Thank you so much. I hope you're going to enjoy the New York Encounter tomorrow. And please be in touch. Happy to talk at any time. Thank you so much and good night.